माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा रासबिहारी राधा रासबिहारी राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शन जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय गौरांगी बैंगलोरीश्वर गौरांगी जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र शत। His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BBD founder Acharya, savior of the whole universe, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stotra Shata. His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। कावेरी माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories and glories and glories and glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraje Nastaptrayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangaitem Grim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurudem Taranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So we continue our conversation from the 21st chapter of 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The canto is titled The Creation of Fourth Order, and the chapter is titled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. And the verse that we're going to discuss today is the 47th verse. Very interesting chapter. Very interesting, information, and not only information, very interesting instructions given by Prithu Maharaj to his citizens of the country. So we're discussing on the 47th verse. Hiranyakashipu chapi Bhagwan nindayatamaha Vivikshur atayat suno Prahaladasyanubhavata Hiranyakashipu chapi Bhagwan nindayatama Vivikshur atagata suno Prahaladasyanubhavata Hiranyakashipuschapi Bhagavan nindayatamaha Vivikshir atyagata suno Prahaladasya anubhavata. Word to word translation. Hiranyakashipu, the father of Prahlad Maharaj, cha also, api again, Bhagavata of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nindaya by blaspheming, Tama in the darkest of the hellish life, Vivikshu entered, Atyagat was delivered, Suno of his son, Prahaladasya of Maharaj Prahalada, Anubhavataha by the influence of. Translation and purposed by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu, who by dint of his sinful activities defied the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered into the darkest region of hellish life. But by the grace of his son, Prahlad Maharaj, he was also delivered and went back home, back to Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. When Prahlad Maharaj was offered benediction by Nrsimhadev due to his great devotion and tolerance, he refused to accept any benedictions from the Lord, thinking that such acceptance was not befitting a sincere devotee. The rendering of service to Supreme Personality of Godhead in expectation of good reward is deprecated by Prahlad Maharaj as mercantile business. Because Prahlad Maharaj was a Vaishnava, he did not ask a benediction for his personal self, but was very affectionate towards his father, although his father tortured him and would have killed him, and had he himself not been killed by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prahlad Maharaj begged pardon for him from the Lord. This favor was immediately granted by the Lord, and Hiranyakashipu was delivered from the darkest region of hellish life. And he returned back home, back to Godhead, by the grace of his son. Prahlad Maharaj is the topmost example of Vaishnava who is always compassionate towards sinful persons suffering a hellish life within the material world. Krishna is therefore known as Paradukha Dukhi Kripa Buddhi, or one who is compassionate towards others suffering and who is an ocean of mercy. Like Prahlad Maharaj, all the pure devotees of the Lord come to the material world with full compassion to deliver the sinful. They undergo all kinds of tribulations, suffering them with tolerance, because this is another qualification of a Vaishnava who tries to deliver all sinful persons from the hellish condition of material existence. Vaishnavas are therefore offered the following prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. The chief concern of a Vaishnava is to deliver the fallen souls. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam, 21st chapter titled Instructions of Prithu Maharaj. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Welcome you all back to this conversation where Maharaj Prithu is giving instructions to his citizens of the country, and he wants all of them to practice Bhakti Yoga. And while practicing Bhakti Yoga, go back home, back to Godhead. That is the only intent that Prithu Maharaj is actually expressing here. And the continuation really happens on the part of Prithu Maharaj. And Prithu Maharaj is looking at how does he serve the highest benefit of the society, which is very, very important for anybody. And while doing so, here Srila Prabhupada talks about another, great Vaishnava, Prahalad Maharaj, and how he delivered his father. His father was very inimical to his Lord, that is Lord Vishnu. And while doing so as well, Prahalad Maharaj was very clear that he would want to deliver his father. He did not want any personal benefit or any benedictions from the Lord. So this pastime is describing Prithu Maharaj, who is the Rajarishi, king but a rishi, a saintly person. Regardless of the situation that we are in, we have to actually become rishis, whether you're a Raja or you're not a Raja. Here, Prithu Maharaj was basically a king ruling over the world, but at the same time imbibing the qualities of a Vaishnava, of Brahmanas, and ensuring that the rule in his kingdom was always befitting those of a great devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami gives 26 qualities of a devotee. And in Harinam Chintamani, there are 25 qualities. As two of these qualities are Tathastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. Yeah, Swarupa Lakshana means a quality that every devotee should have. That is the Swarupa of a person. And Tathastha Lakshana is sometimes they manifest and sometimes they don't really manifest. And one of the qualities of a devotee is Mridu. Mridu is, what is Mridu? Mridu means mild. In Pandavas, if you see, Yudhishthira Maharaj was very Mridu. He was very mild. But Bhima was not. All the qualities are Tathastha, but sometimes they manifest in different degrees. Yeah. It is little extra in somebody, it is little less in somebody, but they manifest in everybody. But one quality, which is Swarupa, which is essential definition of a devotee. And what is that? It is the Tathastha qualities, Krishna Eka Sharanam. Krishna is the only Sharan that for a devotee. That is what a fully surrendered Krishna conscious person really looks at. And full surrender to Krishna is the only quality that one really desires as a devotee. And among all the forms of Krishna, it could be a guru in form, in orders of Krishna. It could be other devotees. It could be Krishna, different varieties or different forms of Krishna. The most important is Krishna himself. Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita 11th or 12th chapter He says we should focus our attention on the forms of Krishna. And which form of Krishna we should focus our attention? Krishna in Vrindavan, because that's the most enchanting form of the Lord. He should be the object of our surrender. Krishna is basically where we have to surrender ourselves. And we see everyone else in relation to Krishna. When we see, a flower vendor, we see in relation with the Krishna saying that he is wanting to serve Krishna. When you see a vegetable vendor, we see it in that form of, relation with Krishna. You see a fruit vendor, it is in that form. A person who actually casts the deities, that we have to see in the relation with Krishna. So whatever we see, regardless whether we are in the material world or we are kind of, we are in the spiritual world, we should cultivate this quality of seeing everything in relation to Krishna. Because only then one can be Krishna conscious. And then what is Krishna consciousness? It is very simple. Srila Prabhupada said somebody whose consciousness is always meditating on Krishna is called Krishna consciousness. Whether you're sleeping, you're still meditating on the form of Krishna or on the qualities of Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. So there's one time that Srila Prabhupada was asked a question by a reporter, and this reporter asked him, this is very much in the initial days, and this was in the Western world. The reporter asked him, how do I recognize your disciple? And Srila Prabhupada said, the only way that you can recognize my disciple is that they are perfect ladies and gentlemen. They're such a nice people. They eat differently because they don't eat non-veg or something which is not offered to Krishna. Their names are very exotic. You see, our gurus give us wonderful exotic names which are related to Krishna. Their dresses are different. We wear dhoti, Matajis wear saris. We dress up a little differently. Matajis also put up some different kinds of tilak, the gopi tilak, they call it as the gopi dots. The pupils, there's these differently. We put a tilak on our forehead. We also, when we do the Tulsi Pranam and Tulsi Pradakshina, we take up the mud from the lotus feet of Tulsi Maharani and put it on our head. They are all saintly people. This is what Srila Prabhupada wanted to drive at home. And in the chapter 7 of Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the relationship to Ashwatthama is described, when Vyasadeva had to write Srimad Bhagavatam, he went into a deep state of meditation. And while somebody is sitting on Vyasasan talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, they have to also go into that state of meditating on Krishna. Because without which, these words will not come out. The glories of the holy name, the glories of the Lord cannot be spoken. Yeah. And while writing, he meditated in Kali Yuga. He actually meditated on Kali Yuga, how the Kali Yuga is going to be. And what he saw in people around in Kali Yuga while he was meditating, he saw Ashraddha, the opposite of Shraddha. People without faith. They were slowly losing faith. Today, if you see, everybody has lost faith. People don't believe in the statements of any politicians, but we still go and vote them. That is called Ashraddha. The identification with religious bodies also become reduced. People are more interested in spirituality rather than religion, which is what the Dharma talks about. And people, Srila Prabhupada said, people will be attracted when we are good people. There are people who say we come to your Sunday feast program because we trust you. We have faith in you. You have no duplicit behavior, and that is why so many people come to all our centers across the world for a Sunday feast program. And we have to maintain that faith, which is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada made a very strong statement way back in 1970s. He said, ISKCON will go down the history for saving humanity from its darkest alley. From the darkest of the places, ISKCON will be known in the history as savior. We're going to save the whole, we're going to save the world from the darkest phase. We don't know when. It can be maybe 6 days from now, 60 days from now, 60 months from now, 6 years from now, 60 years from now. But yes, this is predicted by Srila Prabhupada. And words of Srila Prabhupada will never fail. And that is why devotees have a very saintly quality. Prithu Maharaj is also known as Raj Rishi, and in whatever work that he did it as per a Brahma Varini. Whether it is a pot washer or a pujari or a temple president, we have to all have this saintly qualities. Srila Prabhupada showed this by his own example of being saintly. He was surrounded by the hippies. He would still serve them. He was still very saintly, chanting his rounds, glorifying the Lord, singing the kirtan, in on the streets of United States of America when he started off. Yeah, we have people coming from Western world to learn. They come here, they want to read, they want to learn how to cook. These are not normal qualities for the people from Western world. Srila Prabhupada, most of us have not met him, but we still are dedicated to him. In our words, in our deeds, we are all dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. And why? Because he was a saintly person. He did not give us anything material, nor did he want anything from us. They are the quality that we should all develop. Prithu Maharaj was successful because he was a Rajarishi. He ruled the kingdom very well, and then he also delivered his father, Vena. Vena, if you really go back into history of Vena, he was such a cruel person. At the age of 7 and 8, he would just take up his friend to the corner of the cliff and say, "Hey, look, what is there?" And when the person bends over it and sees, he would push them and kill them. He would just turn around their neck and kill them. That's the quality at 6 or 7 years or 8 years of age. Vena had developed such a demoniac quality that he had developed. But still, Prithu Maharaj delivered his father Vena. And actually, Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us what we have to be and what we should not be. Yeah, when you are sown, see, many times we talk about in Bhagavad Gita also, if you look at chapter 14 lists the qualities of how the devotees have to be. Again, it is also shown in chapter 16 that what one should not be. Krishna is actually the best preacher, and that's the way we have to also teach. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita shows us what are the qualities of a devotee, what are the qualities that devotees should not practice. So there's a corollary. There's difference, absolute difference, saying that you should practice Krishna consciousness, you should not eat meat, you should not drink, you should not have illicit sex, you should not drink intoxicants, you should not take intoxicants. On the other side, he says you should eat sattvic food, you should offer everything to Krishna and accept it. Your behavior with the society should be very clean and neat. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is actually a Paramahamsa Samhita. It is the Paramahamsa Samhita. And Jiva Goswami talks about this, saying that what are the Puranas and the Smritis? Histories are more important in Kali Yuga because you can relate. People need to understand by stories. That's the very effective way of preaching people in this Kali Yuga. Otherwise, even the devotees will go to sleep in Srimad Bhagavatam class. When you don't tell them stories or we don't tell them the pastimes, it becomes very difficult. So there are 18 major and 18 minor Puranas, and out of the 18 major Puranas, the highest commentaries are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the most important part of it. Every time you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it will give you a story. Currently, what we are reading is the pastimes or the stories of Prithu Maharaj as to how he, how he taught his praja to be Krishna conscious. What he wanted his praja to do. How did he want them to do it? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also listen to Gadadhar Pandit, who would speak about Srimad Bhagavatam in Jagannath Puri. Yeah, he would hear the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj hundreds of times. That is how one has to perfect his life. And what we hear about is the topmost demons also. And the topmost among the demon here is Hiranyakashipu. And he can be even called as universal demon. Srila Prabhupada said in one of the classes in one of the conversation when some devotee came and told me, Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada said, you are not most of anything. Yeah, so don't think that you are most of something. You are not most of anything. Forget about being fallen. Hiranyakashipu is the greatest demon, and King Vena was not far behind Hiranyakashipu. Vena, I gave you some example, he would kill kids in the age of 7 and 8 years who were with him, his fellow friends. What will be the destination of such people like Hiranyakashipu or Vena? They will be punished in the next life. Yamraj would give them a punishment which nobody can even think of. So sinful, Hiranyakashipu and Vena, yet they were delivered because they were connected with Prithu Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about deliverance of Hiranyakashipu because Prahlad Maharaj, when the Lord was very happy, Nrsimhadev asked him to ask for some boon. He said, no, I don't want any boon, my Lord. I want everybody to become devotees. At the same time, I would want my father to be delivered. And his father, because of his deeds, had already gone to the deepest of the darkest regions. But still, when Prahlad Maharaj requested the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he requested Nrsimhadev, he was delivered just because he was connected with Prahlad Maharaj. And it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto that if you are a Madhyama Adhikari, a mid-range devotee, 14 generations will be delivered from your family. 7 generations up and 7 generations down can be delivered. And but with Prahlad Maharaj or with King Vena, who was again very demoniac person, he was immediately delivered that same lifetime. It is also said for a Kanishta Adhikari, 1 generation will be delivered. Even if somebody is a very basic, has the understanding of Krishna consciousness, somebody has just taken up to Krishna consciousness, he's a Kanishta Adhikari, not practicing very regularly, just started. Even for him, 1 generation of his family will be delivered. And what to talk about Uttamadhikari? Uttamadhikari, Srimad Bhagavatam says 100 generations go back home, back to Godhead. So we see the generosity of the great acharyas. For us, here when we read of Prithu Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, they are great teachers for us. They are teaching us, saying that how we have to inculcate these qualities and also give the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam to everybody, give the knowledge of Krishna consciousness to everybody. So we have to keep thinking about how do we deliver everybody in this material world. Srila Prabhupada, he would say para dukha dukhi. In many places you see para. Para means highest position. Devotees are of that highest position that they want to deliver the highest dukhi person or a person who's unhappy. That means they're supremely merciful and want to deliver the other souls. That's the quality of the devotees. And today the highest disease is the mental disease, and it is increasing so rapidly. You see, everybody comes to you, says, I'm stressed. Everybody comes and tells you I'm in tension. Everybody comes and tells you that I'm depressed. Why is this happening? Because of the disease of the mind. It's a mental disease and it is increasing very rapidly. But devotees, if you see, they are not depressed because they are too absorbed in Krishna consciousness. They are too absorbed in themselves, saying that how do I preach the other devotees? How do I get more and more people connected to the movement? How do I get more and more people connected to the movement and offer it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And that is why devotees have no time to think for themselves. Because people who think too much about themselves go into depression. Either it is on their financials, on their bodily comfort, or their families. When they start thinking too much, that is where you end up in the stage of depression. So people have so much of time that they keep thinking about themselves, but devotees have no time to think about themselves at all. We are more concerned as devotees about the suffering of the others. Sometimes we feel that our facilities, are we in the best of the facility? I think we've got the best of all the worlds, not both the worlds. Many people say that, I've got best of both the worlds. But if you ask me, devotees have got the best of all the worlds. They've got Srimad Bhagavatam, they've got wonderful acharyas, they've got Guru, they've got wonderful devotees, they've got Prashadam, they've got the most beautiful deities in front of them, and they've got a great work of preaching. And it doesn't give them time to think about themselves. We have all the great situations. We should actually start worrying about others. And we have a solution for others' problem. Because Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam give an answer for everybody else's problem. And Srila Prabhupada was actually racking his brain about the condition of others. And we have to do newer and newer things, actually how to get connected to people, how to give them this bhakti, how to, progress them in the path of bhakti. That's the most important part for devotees. We have a platform where we could invite devotees to Krishna consciousness and they will be elevated. We have to give them the saintly message which is coming to us from our acharyas. And if every devotee is on this platform, it will help them in preaching more. And when you preach more, then the happiness comes and we can liberate ourselves also. Why are our temples so beautifully decorated? Such nice paintings, such nice deities in the temple. It's just to attract them. We have to find newer and newer ways how to attract people. Bigger festivals, nice festivals, different things that we do in the temple. The first quality that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Sanatana Goswami was, out of the 26 qualities that I spoke about, the first one was Kripalu. And the second was Akrita Droha. First one was compassion, it was not humility. Some of us will think that, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not given humility. But once you have compassion, then you will also become humble towards that devotee. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Kripalu as the first quality to Sanatana Goswami out of the 26 qualities that we talk about. We have to show compassion on every platform. Devotees who post on social media and attract so many conditioned souls. Just 2 days back, I was hearing the marathon scores. We've just concluded the Srila Prabhupada book marathon. And there's this Mataji who came and expressed or shared her experience of the book marathon. She said every day, about 8 hours, she would connect with people, either on social media, on phone, on whatever media, talk to them about the glories of the Supreme Personality Godhead, and then encourage them to, take up these books, reading of the books. So much of compassion, 8 hours, spending time. And this Mataji is also, managing the house well. That's the compassion that devotees should have. They should just spread the holy name of the Lord to anybody and everybody who comes to them without any differentiation. Yeah. So when Prahlad Maharaj, in this particular verse that we are talking about in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, he was given the best of the benediction because Nrsimhadev was very happy with the practice of Prahlad Maharaj, the determination of Prahlad Maharaj, the attraction of Prahlad Maharaj to Nrsimhadev, his attraction to the holy name, because he went to the forest and he was chanting. When he was sitting on the cliff of the hilltop, he was chanting the holy name of the Lord. When he was thrown into the place where there were mad elephants, he was still chanting the holy name of the Lord. He was always remembering Lord Vishnu. And he wanted to offer him a benediction, but Prahlad Maharaj said, no, I will not accept. And Prahlad Maharaj very clearly says that, if I start accepting your benedictions, I've become a mercantile class. I've become a businessman. I am serving you because I am expecting something in return. In the material world, we all see this very well. I do a job because my boss gives me salary. I do a business because I get profit out of it. Yeah. So every action that we do is combined with something in return, and that's the mercantile business. And Prahlad Maharaj said, I am a Vaishnava. I do not expect anything or ask for any benedictions for my personal self. But then he said, I would love my father to be delivered. I would like my father to be brought out of the hellish planet and be placed at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. That's the quality of a Vaishnava, that he is not worried about himself. He is worried about the others, and he would like to get them at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. And as we go down, Krishna is therefore known as Paradukha Dukhi Kripa Buddhi. And devotees are Paradukha Dukhi. They are also unhappy by seeing the unhappiness of the people around, and they want them to turn them into happiness. And the only way of turning that into happiness is taking up to the holy name of the Lord, or taking up to Krishna consciousness. And that's why so many devotees go out and distribute books, they go out and do Harinam on the roads, they go out and preach, they do Bhakti Viksha, they do Namahatta programs, they do college preaching, they do school preaching, they do Deepotsav during the Kartik Mass. This is just to give that happiness and get them out of the suffering, hellish life. And that is the first part of the compassion that devotees should have. And that is why Srila Prabhupada says Vaishnavas are therefore offered this prayer of Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. They are very, very Kripalu. Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha. They give out mercy so freely. And they are the only saviors of this Patit who are there. And that's the quality of a Vaishnava. So Srila Prabhupada said that, we should all become saintly and preach the holy name of the Lord, give this bhakti to others, and ensure that they come out of the sufferings that they are going through. So this is what I had for discussion from today's conversation that we had on the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 21st chapter and 47th verse, where Srila Prabhupada very clearly says that we should take care of becoming devotees. We ourselves become devotees and give the bhakti to others. And when we give bhakti to others, naturally, they will take up to Krishna consciousness and go away from the suffering of the material pangs. I would like to stop here in case if there are any questions or if there are any doubts, I'm happy to clarify. If there are any corrections, please go ahead and make the corrections. I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. You're highlighting the main qualities of our Vaishnava should be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, for being there today in the class. I appreciate it. So if there are no other questions, we will stop our session. We'll end our session here. Thank you very much for your participation. I thank the temple management in giving me this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam and purify myself. Thank you very much for your patient hearing as well. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Any other devotees have any questions, comments? Hare Krishna. Okay. So, Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. We'll end the session.